Rorschach's Journal. Tonight, a comedian died in New York. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today, we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things the Watchmen movie did right. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're taking a look at the most positive attributes from one of the most divisive graphic novel adaptations ever made. Number 10, the opening credits.
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam.
Where a lot of modern movies forego opening credits, Watchmen reminded us how a stylish title sequence can immerse the audience in the story about to be told. Through a montage that practically feels like a living graphic novel, we're given a summary of the film's alternative history. Showing rather than telling, the sequence is full of clever moments, revealing that the comedian shot JFK and a recreation of The Last Supper featuring the Minutemen. What's more, the sequence is brilliantly accompanied by Bob Dylan's The Times They Are A-Changing, which works on multiple levels. Not only does the music convey the passage of time, but it also signifies how the times are literally changing.
Oh, the times they are a-changing.
Number 9, the action. Much like Dr. Manhattan, people either think that Zack Snyder is a god or a false prophet. No matter where you stand, it's hard to deny that Snyder is a visually interesting filmmaker, and few can match his knack for action. Snyder carefully mapped out Watchmen with storyboards that didn't deviate from Dave Gibbons' original artwork. This shines through during the action set pieces, particularly the comedian's downfall and the prison riot. The fight choreography manages to be fast-paced while also burning certain shots into our memories, as if the characters leaped out of the panels and into the third dimension. The result is like reading a comic book while still having a cinematic experience. Number 8, the balanced plot.
Blake saw society's true face. Chose to be a parody of it. A joke.
There was no way Snyder could cover 12 issues and over 400 pages of material in this film adaptation, even with the 215-minute ultimate cut. Given the constraints that come with adapting any book to film, however, Snyder and company do a respectable job at keeping the story balanced. The source material naturally goes into greater detail regarding each character's backstory. David Hayter and Alex Say's screenplay keeps everyone's origin story brief, but we essentially learn everything we need to know about these characters in that condensed time. This is no easy task, but the filmmakers ultimately demonstrate how sometimes less is more.
None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you.
That's it! You're locked in here with me!
Number 7, Dr. Manhattan.
Good evening, Rorschach.
Dr. Manhattan, you know why I'm here?
Yes. But you're going to leave disappointed.
Dr. Manhattan is a key example of why Watchmen was considered unfilmable for the longest time. Since the graphic novel came out in a pre-CGI era, the only alternative back then would have been to paint an actor blue.
I'm afraid I just blew myself.
While computer-generated imagery plays an essential role in bringing Manhattan to life, he doesn't feel like a special effect. The audience is convinced that he's really there. This is largely because Billy Crudup was actually on set performing opposite his co-stars. The mix of motion capture technology, Crudup's commanding presence, an innovative use of LEDs, and state-of-the-art CG amounts to a visual feat that gets Manhattan just right.
But you, Adrian, you're just a man. The world's smartest man poses no more threat to me than does its smartest termite.
Number 6, its timeless tone.
Truth. You're a better night owl than I ever was, Danny boy.
Hollis, we both know that's bullshit.
A lot of comic book adaptations are clearly products of their time, but Watchmen feels like a hodgepodge of different eras. The story mainly takes place in the 1980s, but the setting comes off as both futuristic and retro. The film has the dark grit of an 80s action picture, while also satirizing the camp you would have found in something like the 60s Batman show. This creates a look and tone that doesn't belong to one time period, making the experience timeless. The film's themes concerning war, identity, and the greater good can be applied to any generation as well. You could even argue that Watchmen predicted our current obsession with superheroes and nostalgia.
Mother, this is gross. I think it's kind of flattering.
Number 5, changing the ending. Although Snyder strived to remain as true to the source material as possible, he did make several notable changes. The theatrical release notably excluded the tales of the Black Freighter, which was later added into the Ultimate Cut. The ending has the most apparent change, however. In the comic, Ozymandias plans to prevent nuclear war by having a giant squid-like alien attack New York, thus uniting the world against a common enemy.
This wasn't caused by nuclear warheads. It was me.
In the film, the squid is replaced with a massive explosion, and Dr. Manhattan becomes the common enemy. Whether or not you thought this change was an improvement, it's certainly an easier pill to swallow for mainstream audiences than a giant squid alien that seemingly comes out of nowhere. Number 4. The Ensemble. When an A-list actor plays a superhero, it can be difficult to look past the celebrity and see a character. Watchmen wisely enlisted actors who weren't complete unknowns, but weren't household names either. Jackie Earle Haley steals the show as Rorschach, getting so much personality across despite being masked most of the time.
At least I'm not the one still hiding behind a mask.
No. You're hiding in plain sight.
As Night Owl, Patrick Wilson balances out the colorful cast with a voice of reason. Jeffrey Dean Morgan also shines as the comedian, and would later bring the same charisma to Negan on The Walking Dead.
You people, you hear Moloch's back in town and get your panties all in a bunch. You think catching him matters?
Justice matters.
Justice. Justice is coming to all of us.
Number 3. It went for an R rating.
I understand there's even a movie in the works.
I'm not hearing a question, Mr. Roth.
Although R-rated superhero movies weren't unheard of in 2009, it was still rare at the time to see a big-budget studio picture go beyond PG-13. Even The Dark Knight, as gritty as it was, didn't enter restricted territory. Snyder stated in interviews that Watchmen was initially intended to be PG-13. In order to satisfy fans and remain true to Alan Moore's vision, though, it quickly became clear that the film needed to be rated R. It might have been a risk, but the graphic violence, sexuality, and profanity proved integral in producing a more adult superhero movie. Number 2. It captures the look of the source material. Just as Snyder did in 300, Watchmen faithfully converts the print page to the silver screen with numerous shots that match the graphic novel to a T. This time around, though, Snyder didn't rely as heavily on green screens, opting for a solid mix of CGI and practical effects. The world and characters of Alan Moore's magnum opus are brought to life through the stunning sets and meticulously crafted costumes. Even audiences who weren't fans of the film generally agree that Snyder did his homework in recreating the source material, turning in a visual feast for the eyes. Number 1. It remained true to the story.
Tonight, a comedian died in New York. Somebody knows why. Somebody knows.
With future DC films like Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League, Snyder demonstrated that telling an original, coherent story isn't his forte. With Watchmen, though, Snyder knew that he had one of the greatest literary works of all time gift-wrapped to him, so he didn't veer too far away from the story's roots with many moments and lines of dialogue ripped right from the comic. Some people believe the film was too loyal to the graphic novel, and that there's no point in exactly replicating a work of art for another medium. Considering the liberties so many comic adaptations take, however, Snyder's dedication to the source material was more than welcome here.
I'm not a comic book villain. Do you seriously think I'd explain my masterstroke to you if there were even the slightest possibility you could affect the outcome?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.